Welcome back to Two Generations,
One conversation
where perspectives may differ, but the goal is always connection. So, we're back here for a second week, Delia. How you feel about our first episode that we release?
I feel like the first episode was groundbreaking, honestly. 83 views, like
Ooh, yeah.
it's a very good start. I think we did pretty good and everything. Mom did really good, I did really good. So we just need to keep up our consistency and we'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Mhm. And we, of course, we want to thank everyone who watched, liked, shared, and subscribed. And so we are here for our second installation. And of course, new episode means new topic. So this week our topic is our topic is what my teen won't tell me. So we are going to dig into that, which Dana seems to be very excited about this topic.
Very excited.
So we'll see what happens with this episode. But I think there's often a gap between what teens feel and what they actually say, which I think is why this topic is really interesting. And then as parents, we need to understand what that gap is and where the connection happens and how do we navigate those gaps so we can get our teens to say what they really feel. So I think we can start off to this episode with kind of like some conversation starter of like, I'll let you go first just to kind of talk about what's some things you wish parents understood, but they don't, like you don't say out loud. Like,
I wouldn't say understand. I would say they don't see from our perspective. I would say that, of course, you guys know more and we know less. And the way we see things, we see it in a way, I don't think that's gonna affect me in the long run. Or at least I don't think that's too bad. I don't think what I did is too bad. But then when you guys see it, you guys see how it affects in the long run. It may have happened to you before, you may have known more about that situation or something like that. So I wouldn't say it's not that you guys no, you guys understand, but not understand in the perspective that a child would see it because you guys know already. So if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think from a, like you said it, from a parent's perspective, when we're telling you about things, we're telling you from one experience, right?
Yeah.
We're telling you from one, if you get in trouble, like how's that going to affect you in the long run? Because we're looking at the future, right? Is this going to mess up your future? So I think like you get that, and I think how do parents and teens navigate so that the teen understand that your parent is not just telling you don't do this because they just want to tell you that, but they're telling you from a place of love and experience. And then also, how does the parents be open enough that the teen feels comfortable to tell them something, whether it be bad, good, or indifferent? Um, I think from my perspective, I think sometimes, and we talked a little bit about this on the last episode about being the helicopter mom. That's the one that's coming first to me. I think sometimes as you're getting older, you need us, right? But it's like you don't want to admit it because you want to gain that independent. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
And I know I totally agree with that. But I also think it comes from a way of maybe we know we did something wrong and we don't want to tell you because we don't want to get in trouble. And that's one of the main ones up there too, along with being independent. But independence sometimes is not good when you don't have enough experience or knowledge on what you're doing. And not telling stuff before you get in trouble can escalate to even worse stuff. What's the word? It could escalate into something worse without, a parent or guardian knowing. And that could be very bad.
Just maybe the parent can't help you because it's too late. You waited too late.
Exactly.
So. And I think too, like, I think it's good for teens to be independent, right? But it's also good to understand while I'm trying to be independent, I should be open to guidance, right? So we use the example the last time with your project that your business pitch,
Right.
and I think sometimes teens shut down, and also it seems like you're afraid to say, I don't want you to help me, but I want you to give me guidance in a particular way. Like you don't always feel open because in that situation, you kept saying, I'm going to do it. I got it. Right. And you went ahead and did it. But after you came back to me and you was like, can you watch the video? Can you tell me if the point is? So you wanted to be independent, but you still needed help. And I think sometimes teens are afraid to say, well, I need help, but here is the criteria of the help I need from you. What do you think about that?
I think you hit the nail right there. You really hit the nail because I would say, of course, from a teen's perspective, yeah, we want to do it ourselves, but if it gets a little rough, we might come for a little hint or two. But then it's like, leave me alone right there. I got what I needed from you. Let me do what I need to do. But it's always good to ask for help because when you ask for help, better results, especially from someone who has experience.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Good point. What about I think another good one is why teens don't tell their parents things is because they sometimes feel like if they say certain things, they don't feel like they're being understood. There you go, and rolling your eyes. That topic is coming up. Rolling eyes, rolling eyes, and what it triggers for parents. But anyway, back to that.
Let me top up on that just a little. When we say not understood, we mean as in, of course, we know we did something wrong, and we want to come to you and tell you that, but it comes back to, oh wait, how do I could use you an example, right? But I don't want to make it bad. Okay, you know how you're strict, right? Okay, you're right. It's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But coming to you as a strict parent and knowing I did something bad is scary because on my end, I know I'm gonna get a consequence. I'm gonna be in trouble, and you're gonna be mad. So sometimes I just don't feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't tell her that because one, I don't want you to be mad at me. I don't want to have the consequences, and I don't want to be in trouble. So sometimes I just feel like you guys should at least let teens open up and explain how they feel before we get all the backlash from what we did, and maybe help us a little, correct us a little, just a little talk, and then 2 hours later you can hit me with the give me your phone, I'm mad at you, this and that and all of that.
But let me add to that, right? You said you don't want to get the consequences. You don't want us to be mad. And what was the third one? You don't want to be mad, and it was something else.
I didn't want to get in trouble.
And you don't want to get in trouble, right? Okay, I get that. Nobody wants that.
Nope.
But guess what? When you don't tell us and we find out, what happens then? We're still mad. Still gonna get the consequences.
Still in trouble.
You're still in trouble.
Right.
But do you ever stop to think, if you told us earlier, right? Like you say, Mom, you know what? I skipped class today.
I was just gonna use that as an example too.
Yeah. Mom, I skipped class today. I didn't mean to do it. I skipped class, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I'll be mad. But I think I may stay mad for a little bit, but in the back of my head as a parent, I'm going to say, well, you know what? She owned up to what she did wrong early. I didn't have to find out because, if you skip class, I'm going to get that call in the night saying that you missed a class. You had an unexcused absence, right? So now I'm even angry, right? And then your consequences, I'm going to want to give you more punishment because one, you didn't tell me, and now I'm finding out. And two, you disobey a rule. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think teens have to understand, yes, we're always going to get upset because we don't expect you to do wrong things all the time. But I think when you tell the truth early, we sometimes have a little bit more leniency because then we look and say, you know what, at least she owned up to it. She told me ahead of time what was coming, you know. And then I think the biggest thing is like knowing the reason why, in the sense of like, if you could tell me why you're not going to do this again, why you think you made why you made that mistake, and why you know for a fact you're not going to do that again. I think all of those things. Remember when I used to make you get in trouble, and you would apologize. I'll be like, write a
oh my goodness,
write a summary of what you did,
why I did it,
why you did
and
it,
why I won't do it again.
Exactly, because I think that is also learning for as you become an adult, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you become an adult and you have a job, your job is going to have rules and policies and stuff like that. If you form habits from teenager and up that, okay, I I don't listen to my parents, I do wrong things, and you have no consequences, what's going to happen when you go into the real world when there are real life consequences? When they're, you're gonna possibly, break those rules. Right. So I always feel like that helps you to, a lot of the things that we do is helping you prepare for adulthood. When you go out on your own and mom and dad can't tell you what to do, it's the hope that you would take these lessons, and when you get into tough situations, like, wow, this is wrong. Should I do this? Man, my mom or dad wouldn't be happy about this, or this would be the consequence if I do that, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah.
But I do have to backtrack you. Do you think that if me and Dale, right? Because I do have a little brother. I don't know. Did we mention him?
No, I don't. I think we did. Yeah, I did mention at the first episode. Yeah, I have two kids.
Okay, yeah. So if me and Dale were to come to you about stuff that we did, like little small things, not really things you'd probably find out about, like, oh, Dale took a candy, and he remember when you said like no candy, and he took a candy. He was like, Mom, I took a candy. Do you think us doing that repeatedly would build a bond of trust between you and us? Do you think so?
No, I think being honest with me would build the bond and the trust. But the repetitive behavior,
as in then, like coming back over and like just tell you I did this,
and like I mean, no, you're not learning anything apparently, because you're still breaking all the rules. Okay, I mean, once in a while, you take a candy. When I said don't take a candy, and you come in, it's like, oh, Mama, I took a candy. Okay, well, you shouldn't have taken that candy. But I might say, all right, don't take any more. Whereas I know how much candy is there, and then I go and there's less, and I'm like, Dale and Delia, did y'all take candy? And then, no, candy just got feet and walk. That, I think, elevates the
distrust,
and stuff, because now we into lying, right? Mm-hmm. You remember my slogan, liars are no. Tell the world the slogan.
Was it liars turn into
thieves?
Thieves, and then thieves. No, what was it? I don't even know.
And then thieves destroy lives.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? This has been a minute since we did that.
Yeah. I mean, y'all have got better. Sometimes you still tell lies when you don't want to get in trouble. Stop rolling it. Okay. All right.
Don't write that down.
Anyway, so yeah, I think not always feeling understood. I think not comparing to back in the days sometime is, with this new generation as parents, sometimes we have to decrease the comparison, in order to help them feel like they're being understood and understand where they're coming from, right? Of course, with it, without it being repetitive and without it being where they can cause harm to themselves, because obviously we don't want to do that. I'm gonna ask you this one: when do you feel most comfortable opening up?
As in, like, if I did something bad to come and tell
Just generally, anything.
Honestly, just like days when I'm alone with the parent that I feel like that I would want to talk to. So like a good example is when we had that conversation when we were going to Costco. And it was just me and you in the car. Just that night we were just talking. I
Right.
felt it was just me and you. I didn't have Dale to be a parrot as he is, just to say stuff, and we didn't have Dad to butt in. I didn't have. It was just me and you, and it was a conversation I could trust you with, that you wouldn't go tell anyone. Or like Dad, if you're not here, maybe you're working, he's in the garage and he's doing it. And we have our little conversations about, I just feel like for me it's environment. It's environment wise.
Okay. So it's setting. So
yeah.
setting, right? Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's important too. It depends. Because I think sometimes teens don't feel like expressing themselves when there's too much of people around. Because sometimes the subject matter is sensitive. In their mind, it's sensitive to them, right? Um, Also, I think, and you could tell me if this is right, I think sometimes with teens, they gravitate, based on the subject matter, they gravitate to a particular parent.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
that's also a thing where how they feel more comfortable opening. It depends on the parents, and that's sometimes maybe hard for single parents. I want to point that out, because if you're a single parent, whether it be, if it's just a female, um, you know, that teen may not feel coming to talk to you about certain subject matters. And that's why I always think that um, it takes a village to raise kids. And so if you're a single parent, it's good to have, people that you can trust to be figures in your kid's life, so that they also have other outlets to go talk to and communicate and thing, whether it be a cousin, a auntie, or uncle, based on the sex of the child, obviously, and based of who's the single parent. If it's a male, having a female figure that can that girl, if it's a daughter, she can go talk to, because as a girl, you're not gonna go talk to your dad about,
period
stuff. Yeah. Exactly. Your cycle and that kind of stuff, what to do about this or whatever. So, and same thing with a boy, he may not feel comfortable talking to his mom about a girl he likes as he, growing to that age. So yeah, good to have that. So yeah, I agree. Environment, setting, which parent really makes you feel more comfortable to open up. Um, what about teens? Do you feel like teens sometimes may feel more overwhelmed than they show? Is there times that you feel more overwhelmed, but you don't let us see that?
Yes. And my personal reason is because I don't want to seem like a burden to you guys, in a way, as in, like, I see the work that you and Dad do. I see everything you guys do behind the scenes, on the scenes, you know. And I'm like, you know what? I could keep this to myself. I don't want to make you guys worry about me in any, type of way. And it for me, I don't really, if I have something to say that's really serious, I will come to somebody and talk about it. I won't really keep those, bigger things away, because, as they say, if you keep stuff away, it'll eat you up alive, right? But sometimes when I have little things going on, or like if I just want to talk about how frustrated my day was, or how this person was acting in class and stuff, and I see you working, I'm like, you know what, it's probably not that serious. I don't need to tell her that. But in other situations for other teens, it may be different because, as you said, single parent households, and they do need to get something off their chest. And, that person is busy,
Mm-hmm.
they may not have the time. So that might be bottled up for them.
Yeah.
So,
But does it bother you, or do you sometimes feel, I don't want to use the word angry, but does it bother you that at times when you do want to talk right away, that you can't talk right away, and you hold back? Like, does that bother you? And I guess, how do you navigate around that? Like, what do you do? And I'll use the example. I know that sometimes I I can tell when you come from school whether you had a good day or a bad day. Always, right? And so sometimes I gauge that, because if you come right into my office and you like smiley and happy, I know, okay, she had a good day at school. If you come in and you barely say good afternoon under your breath, but because you know you're supposed to come and say good afternoon, you're saying it, then I'm like, okay, we had a bad day. So I guess I'm asking, at those times when you have those bad days, is it that you want to come immediately and have a conversation about it?
yeah, I would say yes sometimes, but let me know if I'd say good afternoon under my breath. Just know I took a nap in my last period. Just no. Of course I do my work, but I just come home tired. And that car ride home with dad. Sometimes
This
I'll
is
tell
on
him.
tape now, right? So now I know. Okay.
But no. And I always tell dad. He was like, "You took a nap today?" I was like, "Yeah, I took a nap today."
But why
And
we
then
not been in school?
I mean, it's valid if I have my work done. I think,
Okay.
because when you come home, you got to do all your work, right? And I'm always scared to ask to take a nap before I do my schoolwork. I think I only did that one time
Okay.
because I was sick. But that's another thing. That's another thing we can add on to this. I'm always scared to ask, can I take a nap when I come home after school?
Mm.
Especially because during the middle of the week, I have all those things.
To do,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Hmm. But did you just see how you just told a truth to your parent, right? Just naturally, you told the
because
truth, right?
look at the setting. I'm with you. There's no one else.
Ah, I guess point
See, there
taken.
we
Yeah,
go.
point taken. So again, and not because I'm on camera, I didn't get angry. I didn't get angry about it because you immediately said, "Well, I'm scared to come home and take a nap because I have," which I know you have your chores to do, you have homework to do, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But you know, I think being transparent too helps the parents understand what you're going through, so that we can adjust and assist you in that manner. So,
Mm-hmm.
like if you say, sometimes I'm tired when I come from school, can I take a 30-minute nap and then do my chores and then do my homework? Right? Then we can sit and think about that structure. Okay, they're coming home this time. w- would you have enough time to do all of this so that you're not going to bed too late, right? We could adjust that, right?
Mm-hmm.
um but if you don't tell your parent, then your parent doesn't know, so now your parent is like, okay, I need you to do this, and then you're frustrated and you're angry.
Because I'm tired and I have to do all this
Exactly,
and
and
that.
you didn't
Yeah.
say you didn't say what you meant, or you don't even show it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we're going back to the topic, like, do you feel overwhelmed more, but you just don't show it
Right.
because you're scared?
But then another thing is just how we were having a casual conversation. I feel like also having a casual conversation with your parent or your teen can also make you say a little, because I didn't really mean to say that. I'm not supposed to say that. But it
Oh.
just slipped out because I'm comfortable where I am and I
Hmm.
feel like, oh, I'm in a comfortable position. Of course, there might be a little consequence that she might tell me later, oh, you need to start going to bed earlier, right? But
That would be a solution, right?
but
How do
how it
you?
just slipped out. I don't
Mhm.
feel, is it, not that word. I'm trying to find my dictionary. I don't feel, condemned
Okay,
or
right.
feel like I'm being persecuted or like,
Yeah.
just for saying that. I just felt open. Like, it just slipped out of my tongue.
Yeah,
because I was not supposed to say that.
But guess what? Guess what? Right?
We sat there
In a different situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a parent found out that their child was, sleeping in thing, and it. I guess if they found out in a way where a teacher is calling and telling them now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that parent would be now angry at the teen and,
Right.
like you say, chastising them or whatever,
That's
punishment or whatever. And now it's a whole situation. And then the teen is like, well, that's why I hate to tell stuff. But if the teen had come forward and said, mom or dad, when I come home sometimes, I just need a little 30-minute revival so I could feel energized before I start anything. That's a compromise parents can have, right? If you think about that.
Definitely.
As long as you know you're going to have to complete all of your homework, right? Whenever you get up.
True.
Right? Whether it's a 30-minute thing. And then you also have to be responsible, right? In our situation, I'm still working when you're home. Your dad sometimes have things to do. So my expectation is that you set some type of alarm, take that 30 minutes, and then you do get up at that time, and then you get your chores done and get your homework done and get it completely. Not say, okay, well, it's 7:30 and I don't feel like doing it anymore, and you do your homework halfway or you rush it, and then now your grades is being affected.
Yep.
Right? So you see how that trickled down, but having a conversation, I think teens have to understand when you have a conversation with your parent and tell them the situation, they are there to help you come up with a plan, right? For whatever it is.
And I see that now.
Yeah. So we can probably pivot. This one is going to be fun.
Uh-oh.
What makes you shut down in conversation?
Oh my goodness. You want me to write down a list or everything? Okay, so I'll just name a couple of the few, right? So one is an elevation of voice. I'm not gonna say yelling. I'm gonna be mature about it. Elevation of voice. Now, when I say I mean on both sides, because of course, from a child to a parent, that's rude, obviously, and from a parent to a child, that's like, oh my gosh, why are you yelling at me? All right, and we'll come back to that one. Another one would be not letting me finish. This is a big one. Not letting me finish. Of course, yes,
maybe you take too long sometimes.
Of course, I might be wrong about whatever it is. We might be bickering about, debating about, whatever it is. I might be wrong, but can I please get out my point? Please, like, you're cutting me off. Like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to have this conversation no more because I'm not getting my point out. And then, and like, even when we have our little small disagreements, you're like, can I finish? Let me get my point out. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let her get her point out, and then I'll come back to what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Another one, and this really depends. If we're in the room and me and you are having a disagreement, or me and dad are having a disagreement, and another parent chimes in, like where did you come from?
Do you feel in those situations, is it that you feel tag team? So you shut down?
Yes, I don't have anyone else to like. I don't. Okay, that one is controversial because if someone else has a point too, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to them too and listen to you. But if I'm being attacked on both sides, I'm just gonna sit there and just shut down. And then dad is like, well, now she's not listening. Well, I'm being attacked. It's 1-2, 1-2.
You feel attacked, right?
I think, and I also think. Let me think. Hold on. That might be it. That might be it for right now. But if we keep talking, I think a couple more will pop up.
So what do you think? Like, for teens out there, what advice would you give them in that situation? In the situations that you brought up here, to not shut down, right? But before you answer that, I want to say this, right? So So you mentioned, the elevation in the voice and the talking and stuff. And I think sometimes conversation can get really heated based on the topic, right?
Definitely.
Like especially if you got in trouble and your parent is at that, that point of like frustration. And so I think it's important as parents, sometimes we do have to take a step back and count to 10 before we respond to the kids, right? Like and I'll be honest, I'm not perfect at that. I don't always stop and count to 10 before I react whenever they get in trouble or something, or we having a conversation, a what I should say, disagreement. Yeah. So and so that's a work in progress for me. But I think we both do identify that, yes, sometimes, because at times sometimes too, I'm like maybe calling Delia for something to say something like, Delia, you need to come and do your chores now. This is the time you haven't done your chores. And I may say it in a subtle way, like, Dayla, you need to come and do your chores. But she's so angry that she doesn't want to do it, that it's either an elevation of her voice, like in her response to me, I'm coming in a minute. Right? So then that's the time I need to count to 10 before I respond to her again. And that doesn't always happen. And I think, would you agree that that's what sometimes would cause the shutting down?
Well, no. For instances like that, that's fully on me, because one, I should have did my chores, and two, I should have just came. So that one is that's an irrelevant one.
Like the young people say, that part.
We need to cut that out.
No, we're not. Go ahead.
But I think that was an example, but it wasn't a good one, because that one is fully on me. Okay. I should have did my chores. One, I should have did my chores, and two, I shouldn't have, been angry that I didn't do my chores that I was supposed to do.
And now you're being told to do it.
Right. Yes. So that's fully on me.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of a better example. I want to keep using disagreement, but that's all I could think about. Just having a simple disagreement.
I guess go back to the question I did ask you about what advice you would have for teens. Like, how do you navigate right now when if we're talking to you, or if we having conversations, how do you navigate not shutting down in those conversations?
I would say what I've learned so far is that when I'm quiet to a point that it's not in a rude way, that I'm just, not saying anything at all. When I listen more, the tension is down, rather than me going back and forth. Because of course it is a very high chance that they know more than what the teen is talking about. And sometimes maybe a smaller percentage chance we know that more than what they're talking about. But it's always best to let you or dad or whoever it is to get their point out first. Just sit there and listen. But sometimes it looks like I don't listen, because I like to fidget when I'm listening to people. So it might look like I'm not listening, but I'm listening. And just sit there and listen to what they have to say. And when you're listening, think about things you want to come back to when they're done, or when they ask you a question. Or if they ask you a question, be like, hold on, I want to talk about something that you were talking about. And I've been using that a little bit more, unless it comes to a point where I want to get my point out. And another thing about that elevation thing for a teen, it's like an aching pain that we need to get out. Kind of, that's the best way I could explain it. In a way, as in,
when you say aching pain, like to get your point out.
Yeah. Or as in elevation of voice. Mom, you're not listening to me. Daddy, not listening to me. Please listen to me. Let me get my point out. Like you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
Just listen to me for a second. I want to get what I'm saying out. And then when you're constantly telling me, oh, be quiet, let me get my point out, it hurts, because I'm like shoving the feelings back down.
So what I'm getting from that is that you feel like, as long as you have an opportunity to get your point out in whatever conversation, then you have the potential not to shut down. But when you feel like we're talking, and we don't give you a chance to speak, maybe it's to answer a question, maybe it's to explain, well, why did you do that, or why didn't you do that, or what do you think about what we said?
Right.
When you don't get that opportunity and we're just talking, that kind of makes you want to shut down in the conversation.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And another thing is when I finally get my point out, you make like a comment on it, or like it may not be the smartest thing. It may be something small and stupid that I don't think is stupid, but from your perspective, what did she just say? And then you kind of put that out, and you're like, what are you talking about? Or you don't sound too smart right now, something like that. That's an instant shutdown, because when I hear that, I'm like, okay, clearly what I said was irrelevant, so I have nothing to say for the rest of the conversation. Okay. Because that, no.
But you have to think, okay, part of conversations is understanding, right? And if we're on a topic and you're not making sense, or if I don't have a good example now, but I think it takes some growth, right? Like if I'm telling you something, I'm telling you, okay, Delia, this trip to Paris cost this, that, whatever. I don't think this is beneficial. This is sustainable with the amount of money you have. But I do think you could still go on a trip, but maybe you might just need to go to the Bahamas, right? And this is random, right? Just making this up. And then you make a statement and say, well, no, I want to go to Paris. I'm gonna get there. I have enough money to get there, but I'm gonna figure out how to come back somehow, right? Ooh. And so I'm looking at you like, okay, but you want to go in the next month, and this is all the money you have saved. So how are you gonna go in the next month of thing? That's not feasible. So you need to change your date. No, I'm gonna still plan for the next month or whatever. So I agree. Saying to someone, well, that's a stupid plan,
right,
can be hurtful, right? But as your parent, you're like, you're not making sense, and you're not seeing what I'm trying to tell you. So I think with that, when you say that, I think sometimes it's the choice of words that is used. Maybe we can better explain and say, well, Delia, you're not making any sense, or not think. But I want to say to anybody out there, we don't ever tell her she's dumb or stupid or anything. We may say
the decisions,
that's a dumb decision, or that's a stupid decision. So don't come for me. We don't use abusive words to her and say she's dumb. We never tell her she's dumb or anything. We may say you made a dumb mistake, but so want to clean that up. But I think I've got from this that, one, you want to be independent, but you want help, but you have specific criteria. I've also got that you can feel overwhelmed sometimes and you want to talk and vent, and we need to create that space for you. I also got that, sometimes you just want to be heard, right? And so I think from this, what I learned today is that if we create the space, the setting, make the time for you to express yourself, that our teens may feel much better at opening up to us and telling us things before it's too late, speaking the truth, and just coming to us overall, so that we can protect them and that we can continue to support them. What's your thoughts?
That I would say the same page as you, but let me just grab the mic from you real quick. Another thing.
Are we grabbing mics today?
Yes, I just need to get this out there.
Oh, okay.
For any teen that, of course, struggles to communicate with their parents, or if you just feel scared, I think you should just let them know how you feel up front. Because even though it may not seem like they're not on the same page as you, I feel like once you let them know, they have an idea or an understanding how to approach you, what to do, what to say. And I also feel like for parents, they should listen to us. And not in a, of course, disrespectful way, not in a way that I'm demanding you to listen to me. Just in a way like, I need your attention so I can tell you this on a way that I feel comfortable telling you. Like, if I do something wrong, I'm sorry for doing this. Number 5, I need you to listen and not fix. Not fix what I did. I just want you to listen and tell me, and I want you to hear what I have to say, because I know I may have did this. It could be good, bad, or anything. Right now, it's like, I don't want your input. I don't want your input. I just I just want you to listen to what I'm saying. No interruption. I just want to get this load off my chest. I want to tell you this.
You want that space to be able to express yourself.
That just a little moment, a little moment, a little light shine on me to tell you something without any interruption. And then when I'm done, I'm like, okay, you can tell me what you got to say now. Just kind of like that. I feel like when you're able to go to your parents and be like, Mom, I got to say something, right? Don't interrupt me yet. I'm going to tell you, but you can't interrupt me. And when you do that and you get everything off your chest, then they can, as a parents, can come in to either save you, help you, guide you, whichever one, in for that whatever particular situation it is. And I think me and Mom have done that a lot of times. I might come in the bathroom with her and tell her, Mom, I want to tell you something, but you can't interrupt me. And then it'll evolve into a conversation on why not to do this, what you should do, this and that. And I think that's pretty cool. I think you should, always go to your parents and tell them how you feel or what you want.
Yeah.
So that was my little mic steal right there.
Good mic steal. But anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode. I think this was a fun one.
Definitely.
Hard topic, obviously. But I think bridging the gap isn't about having all the answers, right? It's about creating a space where honesty feels safe. And I think we hope that somebody out there is listening and this episode touched them. And we will see y'all next week. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Bye.